This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report. Alongside Seth Merrill, I'm Anthony Mormino on this Wednesday morning as we kick off the last week on the main track at the Big A. Turf racing scheduled and etc. In case you missed the news, New York will be running on Mondays, not at Saratoga pretty soon. I guess they're going to go dark on Wednesday and have a wraparound week.
In addition to Saratoga.
Yes. So Mondays will return to NYRA for the first time since the 90s on a regular basis, I guess probably just through the winter, it sounds like.
Well, yeah, they say through the end of March, and it's an experiment. To me, it seems like a good idea given what the racing calendar is currently on Mondays and Tuesdays. I think they're going to jump on and take advantage of kind of a light schedule and be the big fish in the small pond on Mondays. So we'll see how it works out. That there will be no Wednesday racing, so essentially we'll have the same days every week. But and the other news was that I'm waiting for local reaction. They raised, or plan to raise, the admission price at Saratoga, and not in. Well, you say that, but I think there's a lot of people that a 60% bump for a lot of people. Not for, I have no argument with the people who go 3 or 4 times a year. That's enough. But you want those everyday people, and I have no problem if they put in some kind of loyalty program or say we're going to offer up a season pass, something like that. But I think there's a lot of people day in and day out, the $8, and now you chunk that into a $7 program, and you know your parking and whatnot, you're $20-25 in the hole before you walk in the place. And every day, like I say, for the folks who are going, enjoy the track 3 or 4 times a season, that's probably not an issue. But for the folks who want to go, you know, and not even necessarily every day, but you know, 2 or 3 times a week during the meet, it adds up.
It does. But one of the things I always have to do anytime I hear about money is, my guess would be that they're probably still behind the cost of living adjustment going back to when I was a kid.
Yeah, except the whole landscape has changed. I mean, back in the days, they were the monopoly, and now
They're pretty much a monopoly at Saratoga.
Well, and that's why they feel they can raise the price. But I still think it's just a different landscape these days. And as I say, for the folks who are going a few times, that $8 is still probably a bargain. But if you want people to come in and bet and have some money in their pockets, I think day in and day out. And again, I have no problem if they have some kind of loyalty program. We talked to Jenny Reese on Monday, and she talked about Churchill Downs and how they seem a little tone deaf to customer service. And one of the things she mentioned was they had essentially gotten rid of a customer loyalty program that they had, and that I think is a good idea, because I see the argument of racetracks saying, hey, we got to charge admission and because, parking.
By the way, that's how they make money.
Exactly,
That's how they make money.
I think again, if you want those people to come every day, and you want them to bet, you want them to have some money in their pockets, and so I think the way to do that is to have some kind of loyalty program. So the folks who are coming occasionally, they're going to pay the price, but the folks who are loyal to your product, you know, you give them a little bit of a break.
It's typically how business is done, and you could probably figure out the monthly pass. I know it's not a singular month, but a meetly pass at Saratoga
pass,
that,
like that
you know, you divide out, and if the person were to come every single day, you know, you divide by 40, whatever the number is, and that's what they're going to pay. But it always strikes me that I think many people fail to realize that racetracks, generally speaking, keep parking, the concessions, the programs, and the admissions. And many racetracks, they don't charge for admission or parking anymore. So they've really given up their ability to make a profit on the bottom line, which stupefies me. How, like, you open the door and your profit margin. Well, we'll see. But the Mondays, I think, is a good idea almost all year round, because there aren't very many Wednesday holidays. But there are an awful lot of Monday holidays, so you don't have to change your schedule. You can run 5 days a week. You don't have to keep telling people, oh, we'll be dark on Wednesday this week. I've always, and going back, you talk about many years ago, Monday was a great day at the track. Many small business people would close on Monday. and they go to the track on Mondays. But Wednesday, I think the wraparound schedule is day in and day out, because we've talked about what they didn't run on Veterans Day. Why would you run on Wednesday?
That was.
I mean, if you're going to get a little bump at all, run on Veterans Day. And the other side of that is, I don't know if contracts, you got to pay your help, more on Veterans Day, and you're not going to make it up in the added attendance. That I don't know, but generally speaking, you run Thursday through Monday, you're going to grab about 13 holidays, and you can do a little bit better. You don't have to change your schedule. Now, I couldn't tell by the article reading it, is there going to be 4-day-a-week racing also in February?
At some point within that window, yeah, they're going to go to 4 days a week.
All right, which...
Well, which would be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Right, which, I started talking about this 5 years ago when the foal crops kept coming in. I'm like, there's just no horses, which I talked about the other day on Monday. It just amazes me. There are no horses, but we keep having 14 horses enter into races at Churchill Downs. I'm like, they seem to, Churchill Downs and Keeneland.
Although their numbers were down. The numbers came out. The wagering was down, and the field size was down as compared to last year.
From what to what?
From last year to this year. From the fall meet to the fall.
9.8 to like.
Yeah, 8 something.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was due to, and I have the numbers. It was 52. There was 52 turf races scheduled this year. 20 got washed off onto the main track, which I think there were 74 scratches. So that affected the field size, certainly, and the wagering as well.
That's why, as a stats guy, I always wish they would have parenthetically after it, give me the clear, fast ones. The days when the racetrack was clear and fast, what were you like? Because typically, clear and fast racetracks gives you the fewest amount of alteration to the card. And quite frankly, it wouldn't take a lot of work to get that stat out. I could take it off my Excel spreadsheet in about 15 seconds.
Speaking of foal crop size, I found it interesting. There was an article in the Racing Forum within the past couple of days about the opener at Tampa Bay and talking about who's coming and trainers and jockeys and whatnot. Of course, Jamie Ness has been the
winner,
the giant in the trainer standings down there the past few years. He says he's not coming in as loaded this year, and he blames it on the foal crop size because he's a guy who plays the claiming game, and he says it's just gotten much tougher to play the claiming game with the number of horses out there having decreased.
I know. I've said this before. I mean, I think it's a conservative estimate. I think of horses of racing age, and I'm talking Monday through Friday, Parks, Santa Anita, everybody. It's basically the 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. I don't count the 2-year-olds too much because they have a little niche for themselves, but we're down about 75,000 horses, folks. 75,000. We have been down about 25,000 for 4 or 5 consecutive foal crops. And then take on to that, I like to call it the Seth Merrill Ghost Zapper angle, which is you have 75,000 fewer, and they might be running a race or two, the claiming type horses, a race or two fewer than they were before. So it gets down to frequency, number of athletes participating, number of times has got to be down a number that just, it's how it is. And until we get foal crops back up to, we're about 22 to 25,000. It needs to get back, I don't expect to get it back up to 50,000 like the late 80s, but it needs to get up to 35,000 for like 5, 6 years in a row. And then we'll see the field size that I'm talking about. And as Seth mentioned, it is opening day today at Tampa Bay Downs, which is, always nice on the network. I'll be doing Tampa Bay today. It's opening day, and, they run through. Seth doesn't make as many stops down in Oldsmar, Florida, as he used to, but it's opening day in South Florida, so we're hoping on the network we'll get some very, very nice sunny skies down in western Florida.
Yeah, I have Mike Henry coming up from Tampa on Racing Across America later.
What's Mike do at Tampa?
Talk to him on the phone with the publicity department.
Oh, he's PR, okay.
So we'll talk a little bit. We'll preview the meet a little bit, but I talked to him on the phone
yesterday. Is he going to dust off your spot in the press box?
I said I didn't make it down last year, but I certainly hope to because it's always fun to get down to Tampa.
Sure.
The January or
February,
don't sit in the grandstand in short sleeves.
Don't ask him this, but it always marveled me because I've been watching Tampa for probably about 23, 24 years. I'll be honest, the first time I ever really heard of the place was when Howie Tesher had Champagne for Ashley back in 1990. And the question always begged to ask, why don't you have a turf course? And it wasn't until really the end of the 20th century that they got one. I think it's a nice one. I like it. And I was talking to a trainer who loves Tampa's turf course as opposed to the other major racing jurisdiction in Florida's turf course.
And it's going to be interesting to see what this meet winds up doing because of that quirky little 2 or 3 day summer meet they had, you might remember,
July.
which because of the
Year-round
arcane
racing.
rules gave them more simulcast revenue is what wound up. So they have much nicer purses this year, which are becoming maybe more comparable with that other side of the state. So it's going to be fun to see how this meet does wind up and shape up. All right, a little later on, I'm going to look at Aqueduct. Anthony will kick things off, though, with opening day at Tampa, their first race for this 2013-2014 winter season is a conditional claimer at the 5,000 level. It's a calendar condition. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds, and up, they'll go 6 furlongs.
You know, and as we kick off this meet, and really any meet, I shouldn't say it, the Tampa meet opener is unique because there's not a circuit. It's not a flow like Aqueduct Bell. There's nothing to it. So much of my thoughts early in the meet is really just, you know, tread lightly, tiptoe into the water. It's like, as I was watching this card, I was like, well, what's going to be playing favorably? Speed, inside, anything. Now, one thing about Tampa that I've noticed, and I've said it about Churchill Downs many times, you watch the Tampa Bay races in that bright sunshine, and their dirt composition looks the most like sand of any place I've ever seen. Now, maybe it's just the angle of the sun when they conduct racing, but it looks almost whitish. But what I also remember is the horse usually wins at about the 5-path, coming down the lane on the dirt. So it's a new meet, new day, horses coming in from all over the place. Courage of your convictions, I guess, is important, but let's not empty the bankroll right away till we see what's going on down at Tampa Bay. 7-1-6 kicking it off, and Mambo Maya gets my top pick coming off of a victory in an open 62.50. That was at Gulfstream Park as they ran through the autumn, coming off of 3 consecutive one-turn, 1-mile races. Now shortens up to 6 furlongs and comes back to Tampa Bay where this horse was running in the spring. For second, taking the rail, number 1, Ridge Kitten. This horse has shown good early speed, and I'd like to see a repeat of the Gulfstream Park most recent effort in November, where breaking from inside did show the early speed, did get caught, got beat by a nice winner, Cindy Rules. For third, number 6, Lost Your Number. Yeah, that's what you say. 2 back, a $5,000 claim, stepped up to 8. That was on the Mid-Atlantic, claimed at Monmouth, ran at Parks going 7, now shows up at Tampa Bay. And Seth, I just want to give our audience just a little look-see into what I'm talking about, trepidation. I'm going to read off the site of the most recent efforts in the first field, in the first race. Gulfstream, Hawthorne, Thistle Downs, Indiana Downs, Gulfstream Park, Parks, Gulfstream Park, Suffolk, and Keeneland. Are we missing anybody? How did somebody from Naira not show up in the opener? But that's what we're, you know, it's the uniqueness of Tampa Bay and the fact there's no feeder circuit, etc. So they're coming from Chicago, they're coming from Indiana, they're coming from Kentucky, they're coming from East Boston, etc., etc., etc.
And I'll have to ask Mike Henry later if he knows, but on the number 9 horse, the jockey listed as A.B. Solis, 10-pound apprentice, only a couple of starts so far, but I wonder if that's a relation to Alex.
Is it his son? I heard.
That's what I'm wondering.
I heard. What was it? So Alex Solis came up in the news, and it might. I don't think it was. Yeah, actually, it might have been his Hall of Fame vote. I don't know. And I thought I saw something about his son.
I'll see if Mike Henry knows if this is any relation. All right, the second race at Tampa today, conditional claimer at the $8,000 level. Non-winners at 2 lifetime the condition. 3-year-olds and up, going 1.40 miles.
And just to give you a quick little insight, we have Colonial, Calder, which is to be expected. Presque Isle joining the racetracks from the most recent efforts. 5-4-9, ladies and gentlemen. Taking that Presque Isle runner with A.B. Solis in the saddle. Number 5 is JT's Big Dream, and the most recent effort rooting at Presque Isle. Now, it was near the end of their meet. It might have actually been closing night. a good effort at almost 20-1. Now taking some time off that, we're about 2.5 months, so I don't make much of it. Exits a restricted claiming efforts down at Presque Isle, takes the 1-for-17 lifetime mark. Now, I don't have a thought of how this racetrack is going to play, but this horse has shown some ability to be a little bit within striking distance of the pace setters, or more typically to be an off-the-pace runner, and gets the dirt for the first time since last spring running at Tampa. For second, right next door in the starting gate, number 4, Astonish. Only 2 starts since running at Tampa on April 5th. They were in the autumn at Indiana Downs, returns to Tampa where they broke the maiden 3 races back in the 11th career start. 4/3, outside horse, 2-1 on the morning line, number 9, Half Wed. What does that mean? A $7,500 claim off of an 18-month layoff. Now makes the 4th start off of that layoff. 2-1 on the morning line. 5-4-9 in the second from Tampa.
Half Wed by Broken Vow out of AP Surprise. So there you go.
A lot going on there.
I will say you're a brave man, though, taking the lightly raced 10-pound apprentice on your top pick. I can't pull the trigger on those guys until they show something. I will say, however, I think it was either Monday, I think it was Sunday when I was in here doing Churchill, that bit me on the rear end, though. There was a 10-pounder that won, that beat me the other day.
And one thing I talk about watching races, sometimes there's 10-pound bug boys, 7-pound bug that really are sketchy on the back of a horse, and then there are others. It's just a matter that they're getting started. But
and I've said before with the 10 or 7-pounders, I don't mind if my horse shows a lot of speed, because I think then the trainer just says go out of the gate, don't even think about it. Then I don't mind. But like I say, but one beat me the other day, so they get it done. Third race at Tampa this afternoon is an optional claimer, a C-level optional claimer. The tag 16,000. These are 3-year-olds and up. They'll go 1.40 miles.
And I want to say, just jump in here at Tampa, and also in case you're on board with Finger Lakes early in their meeting, this is, I always tell people, Seth, this is actually, for me, the busiest time of year, because I find about 6 racing jurisdictions really draw my attention, whether it's Fairgrounds, Tampa, Southern California, New York, obviously, Gulfstream's in play, and soon is going to be Oaklawn Park. For me, this is actually, starting about mid-January, the busiest time of year. And I've noticed at Fairgrounds and here, and I always wonder if I missed something. Seth said optional claiming 16/C, and we've been seeing that show up at the Fairgrounds, but how is this just not optional 16 starter allowance? Or in this case, non-winners of one other than? It's 3-year-olds and up which have not won a race other than maiden claiming or starter. So that would be the 1X condition. Or which have not won 2 races. Well, that's the other. Or optional claiming price 16,000. We've also been seeing them at the Fairgrounds. Now, they're not optional claimers in allowance. They're optional claimers starter allowance. But they're throwing up this capital C, which I grew up meaning much different than I read the conditions, which, quite frankly, has worried me that maybe I'm missing something until I see the horses. Because to me, Seth, this is an optional claiming a other than. That's how I look at it. And it's 3-2-5, taking number 3, Fable Zapper, who has good early speed, ships in after multiple races at Presque Isle, went to Ohio before Presque Isle closed, and most recently on October 27th, had a good third-place finish at nearly 10-1. And going back to St. Patrick's Day, scored a victory for 12-5, going 1.40 miles at Tampa. For second, right next door in the starting gate, number 2, Sea of Inquiry. Had 2 consecutive wins going distance of ground at Indiana Downs, then started in something we don't see very often in New York, a starter handicap race, which usually meant very, very tough fields in here. And on October 2nd, the most recent effort, Sea of Inquiry, did get his head handed to him. Makes the Tampa debut this afternoon. And just a question, as you look over this race, I'm presuming we're going to go to the front down inside with 2-turn speed. For third, number 5, Bluegrass Jam, which will intrigue me how Willie Martinez sees this race. Will he be trying to cut out to the front or sitting second? Personally, I don't know that Bluegrass Jam can make the front in this race and is 9-5, 3-2-5 in the third.
And speaking of jockeys, one thing I will be watching in the jockey colony, missing for a while at least, Daniel Centino, who of course does so well down at Tampa, but he's made a commitment to Maryland over the winter. Well, last year, if I'm not mistaken, he started the season at Gulfstream, wound up back in Tampa. I wonder if this year, about January, he won't start saying, that Tampa looks pretty good.
Right.
Get on there and win. The weather's good.
The Gulfstream change was because of depth of competition. Yeah. The Laurel change might be for depth of brain waves. Be like, it's a little chilly out here today.
And you would have to think if you're doing well down at Tampa, as opposed to, I think he does okay in Maryland, but he's the king of the hill at Tampa. Yeah. It's probably money-wise, you're okay too. Fourth race at Tampa this afternoon, maiden claimer, 10,000 to 12,005. These are 3-year-olds and up. They'll go 3/4 of a mile.
5-7-6 for me. Tiz Witch gets my top pick. The effort 2 races back at Monmouth Park for a maiden claimer 10. Hit the board, just beat a little bit over a length. The subsequent effort, not so good at Indiana Downs. Now has taken some time off. Comes back here for 12-5. As I said, it's a completely different racing jurisdiction. It's opening day. But we have shown the ability to be competitive at bottom-level maiden claiming prices. For second number 7, Grave, coming off back-to-back second-place finishes, including just losing by a neck at 9-5 over at Calder most recently. For third, number 6, Crazy Legs 4. 2 races since June, caught slop at Calder, but the November 1st race, a very, very interesting third-place finish, but the exacta had run away from the horses, comes back at a low-level claiming price. And if you throw out the maiden special weight races, and I will say this about racing jurisdictions, you talk about clear, fast racetracks. I'm giving this Austrian Peace Rules sort of a clean slate, with the most recent effort being one of the few efforts. And it was a good effort to hit the board. And you come back at 10-1, 5-7-6 in the fourth.
Fifth race at Tampa this afternoon, conditional claimer, 8,000 tags, non-winners of 3 lifetime the condition. Fillies and Mares, 3-year-olds and up, 6 furlongs.
10-11-7, ladies and gentlemen. And number 10 is Jungle Princess. Gets my top pick in here. Won a 2L at Laurel in September, going 6 furlongs. Followed it up with a good effort off of that victory on an off racetrack ridden by Daniel Centino. This offspring, a Ghost Zapper, makes the Tampa debut today. For second, right next door in the starting gate, number 11, My Tea Time. The Chicago Invader just got beat at 9-5 in the most recent 3L for 5,000 in Chicago. And for third, number 7, Shepherd's Fury. 2 brilliant efforts of late being April 28th at Tampa. This horse has never been off the board at Tampa Bay. This offspring of Latent Heat makes the first start in 7.5 months, 10-11-7.
We'll take our first break. When we come back, we'll continue our look at Tampa. A little later on, Aqueduct. Stay tuned.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTV.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTV.com. Log on today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right, the 2013 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2014 National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month, the Capital Cup on December 7th. So sign up today online at capitalotb.com or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook. And don't forget our Showviver series, Capital OTB's online handicapping contest. I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV network. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Wednesday morning. Seth Merrill and Anthony Mormino will continue now our look at Tampa with their race number 6. They're on the turf.
Yes.
It is a plain vanilla 16,000 claimer, 3-year-olds and up, going a mile and a 16th.
And 4.95, ladies and gentlemen, as we kick off turf racing at Tampa Bay Downs. And don't let it fool you. I think what I said, this is like the 70th anniversary of Tampa Bay Downs, and it's about the 14th anniversary of turf racing at this Florida racetrack. 4.95, Crimson Knight. As I looked at the card, as I said, you know, this is opening day, and we have horses coming in from everywhere. And number 4 is from Ohio, and number 5 is from Massachusetts. But an offspring of Loire de San Amo, turf champion about 8 years ago, has hit the board in 5 of 9 lifetime on the turf. Gets to the turf for the first time in a couple of years, ladies and gentlemen, but is 2 for 6. Now, this is one of those dog legs are coming out of the bend, and number 4 post positions is about where I start to like to be. For a second, number 9, Monroe Court. I claim a couple races back. Very, very sharp in the 3 lifetime starts on the turf. When you have a victory in a second and a fourth, you miss all the money by a length, boy, that's pretty good. Also, quick note, 11, 12, 13, 14 are also eligible. And for third, coming in from East Boston, where they won't have slots, but in Revere, in the parking lot, they're going to have slots soon enough. Number 5, Perfect Jaiski, comes off of consecutive victories in East Boston, going about 1 mile. So 4, 9, 5.
That is not decided yet, though, but it's
Well,
very clever that
if I'm betting that the town people that wanted it, eventually the state court will hold that.
But then it still has to be decided whether Suffolk gets it, and that's the big deal. I mean, they're still not.
The owners of Suffolk Racetrack.
Yeah, will they
Yes.
get a casino? They haven't really decided where. And then also the other news, Illinois, where we thought
It was
the people, you know, the racing interest came together a week or so ago, and we thought when the legislature got back in session, it'd be
Rubber stamp it.
But yesterday they were in session for a day, didn't get, and so there's one more shot before the January 31st deadline. So we'll see if that happens out there. But Illinois,
14 days of racing in Illinois. I'm betting against that too.
But it's the one day. And the one day, I think it's the State of the Union address as well. And so the State House newspaper man I talked to a week or so ago said, usually they don't do too much business out that day. And we expected it yesterday, didn't have. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right,
Get your man on the horn.
Well, as we
Did
get
it
closer.
slip their mind?
Yeah, as we get closer. Tampa, the 7th, plain vanilla claimer at the $6,250 level. These are 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs.
496 in here. Big reward. We certainly hope so at 6-1 on the morning line, coming off of a restricted victory. Talking about Illinois, coming out of Illinois racing of late, makes the Tampa debut off of that victory. For a second, number 9, Django. Couple of good efforts of late. Seems to be in career best form. Ships in from Ohio, 0 for 7 lifetime at Tampa, but has hit the board 3 times. And right on there, you see a couple of second-place finishes at Tampa last spring. For third, number 6, Boleto Alert. 2 races back in East Boston, won a dated claiming race, has never won in 9 tries down at Tampa. 496.
And we have another one of those optional claimers / C condition races. This time they're on the turf at a mile for 3-year-olds and up.
And like I said, there's a lot of writing here, but I'll just give it to you. For 3-year-olds and up, which have not won 3 races other than maiden claiming stated or claiming price of 62.5. So how it's not a 3X, I do not know. 675 and Let It Rock gets my top pick, having not run since Travers Day at Gulfstream Park. A very nice 9 furlong runner-up race for second, number 7. Pyrite Personnel going out this afternoon on the turf for the 25th time. Has hit the board in 14 of the previous 24. Exits a stakes 1.25 mile race at Thistle Downs. Hasn't been on the turf since Tampa last spring. For third, the other side of the starting gate from my top pick, number 5, Silver Cloud, coming off of many turf sprints in South Florida. What's we got? 6.75 going a mile.
The finale today at Tampa, their race number 9, a maiden special weight event. These are 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs.
9-2-1 as we wrap it up in a field of 11. And Smooth Citizen is 15-1 on the morning line after debuting at 15-1 and running third. I'm a little suspicious if that 15-1 will hold up from the outside post. Going to the other side of the starting gate, number 2, Bellamy Storm, who is 7-5 here. An offspring of Bellamy Road, who is owned by the Steinbrenners or their Kinsman stable. This one owned by Kinsman, making the 3rd start, but the first one since Feb 3rd at 7-5 on the morning line with Pedro Cotto. Well, we've already lost it 2-5, folks. For third, number 1, 9-2-1 in the maiden special weight finale on opening day at Tampa.
Opening day at Tampa. That's in the books. We'll come back. We'll take a look at Aqueduct right after this.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Funding your Capital OTB Bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Handicappers Report. Alongside Seth Merrill, I am Anthony Warmino. Put Tampa Bay's opening day. And I think it's always nice. I mean, it's not that it's brutal outside, but I always think it's nice to look at South Florida, and you see the sunshine and the turf racing. The grass will look, I'm sure, elegant as all get out this afternoon. And the good news, I think, for most NYRA fans is, we're on the dirt, the main track still at the Big A. One more week to go, hopefully, of turf racing. And the opener this afternoon, 3-year-olds and up, claimers in for $20,000. The latest type of wrinkle in our conditions, we received the Capital B a couple years ago, and now it's older horses, non-winners of 3 lifetime, or 3-year-olds, or non-winners of a dirt race since Independence Day, going 6.
And going back to yesterday at Finger Lakes, 3 for 10 yesterday.
Light day.
3 for 9 the day before, but both days were quirky. They're kind of going back to that surface last Monday, where it was playing to speed and it was just kind of tough to predict.
Well-
It was a little more fair than that the past couple of days, but still conducive to speed. So if horses kind of got out on the backstretch, had a little bit of a lead, regardless of what their odds, they were tough to run down in the stretch. So for me, it was a little bit of a struggle. I will say, called a couple plays of the day, a couple exactas. One of them paid 51. That was okay. The later one, although there was a scratch, and so it made the play a little lighter, it was only a $9 exacta, but
I'm sorry.
no, that's perfectly okay. That's one where you got to look up at the board, because my top pick, Two Susans, who I liked quite a bit,
Yes.
4-1 on the morning line. That was part of the reason I thought the play was nice.
Well, you get something.
4-1 on the morning line, and I thought that could float down. I didn't think it was going to float down to a $5.50 mutual, though. But the horse lived up. I thought the horse had much more talent than was being given credit.
Apparently,
in
you
the
weren't
morning
alone.
line, but not. Yeah, exactly.
It was a large ship.
Yeah. So, but the $51 exact
Now we're,
covered things there nicely.
We're close to the end.
Yeah, had Tony
Dave.
Kalo on yesterday, and he'll make one more appearance because next Tuesday's closing day.
Yeah.
And they have also said they have 10 race cards through the remainder of their meet, and I think Tony said starting Friday they moved to noontime, which I guess is
The sun.
figuring
The sun.
the daylight. All right, at Aqueduct this afternoon, it is fast. The turf condition is good. Opener I have at 9, the one entry 6 and 3. The number 9 is Schoolyard Dreams. Class dropped second off of the claim, was claimed by Linda Rice, 2 starts back for 35, came right back at 35. The race claimed out of was a win at 35, came back and ran 4th. That was at Saratoga. So this is a horse that was claimed in June at Belmont, then ran at Saratoga, comes back now. So the comeback, fitness may be a question mark, but I think that could be overcome by the class relief in here. Comes back today for 20,000. So Schoolyard Dreams on top, second spot. The one entry, Majestic Number, and Not My First Time. I think both halves are getting some class relief for potent claiming connections. It is David Jacobson. It is drawing away. And again, I think they play the claiming game very well, and they're crafty, and these horses are well spotted today, both halves of the one entry. Third spot, the number 6, Take Down 2. I just think this horse might fit well with this particular bunch. 3 starts back, claimed for 35,000, then was in some optional claimers, wasn't in for the tag, now with 20. Again, just looking at the complexion of this field, I think Takedown 2 is going to fit. In the opener today at Aqueduct, 9, the one entry, 6 and 3.
Second half of the early daily double, the capital Bs that we have grown up with, 3-year-olds and up fillies and mares claimers in for 35,000, non-winners of 2 races for the elders, or 3-year-olds also going 6.
5, 4, 3, and 10. The number 5 is Trail Walker. I just think this horse is going to appreciate the return to 35,000. Ran an okay third in a effort. The horse was claimed out of 3 starts back, and then they got a little ambitious the last 2. I say they got a little ambitious. They were rewarded for it 2 starts back and ran okay last time. But I think, again, moving to this 35 level will provide a little bit of a boost today for Trail Walker. Second spot. 12-1 on the morning line could be interesting and add a little value to the play in here. Number 4, Off My Cloud. This is one claimed last time for 20, now bumps up to 35. So I think, excuse me, on the class, this horse is maybe a little bit of a question mark. I just find interesting on the cutback, though. Has been going a mile and a 16th, mile and 70, goes 6 furlongs today. Cutback, again, could prove interesting. Third spot, the number 3, Evasive Bet. Speaking of potent connections, it's Midwest Thoroughbreds. So again, I think these are connections that play the claiming game very well. 5, 4, 3, and 10.
On to the third race, 3-year-olds and up, optional claimers, 100,000, non-winners of 3 other than racing 7/8.
Short field, but an interesting field. I have a 2, 5, and 4. I put Johannesburg Smile on top. It's Mike Rapoli, it's Todd Pletcher. They dropped this horse. They dangled this stakes winner in for $100,000, but they claimed the horse for $100,000 4 starts back. Now, 4 starts back was back in January. This horse has been off since March, but this is a former stakes winner. I think this is kind of a nice spot for the return, and they are connections that can have a horse ready first off a layoff like that. So the Johannesburg Smile, a tepid nod in here in this short competitive field. Second spot, the number 5, Spa City Fever. I just think this horse is absolutely eligible off the last effort. It's David David Jacobson and Drawing Away. A nice wire job going a mile over at Aqueduct last time. And again, with the buyer figure, I think a repeat of that effort puts this horse right in the hunt today. And it just may signify this horse is in some pretty good form right now. And then not quite sure what to expect from number 4, Regulus. If this horse wins, it won't surprise me. Comes in from the West Coast. And again, would just use this race as maybe a little bit of a barometer to see where the horse fits in the mix in New York. But I think this horse is eligible to run very well. Has been off since March. But again, if the horse has some fitness, and I think that last workout, the 35 flat, signifies the horse probably done, could be interesting in here today. So again, short field, but a fun third race, 2, 5, and 4.
Seth, on the PPs for Johannesburg Smile, is he was a rarity, right? $100,000 claim. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was Todd Pletcher. Just because we it seemed like about 2 months before that situation came up, I was like, you know, because they've run this conditions very sporadically. But I mean, we don't even get horses claimed at the 75, because it used to be 75,000 3X. Then they raised to 100. I'm like, who the heck's going to claim a horse? And
Yeah,
about 2 weeks later, Pletcher goes in for Johannesburg
I'm sure
Smile.
you think you put your horse up for 100. I'm sure you think you're safe. There was a $100,000 claim at Saratoga this year. I've forgotten who, but
you know what I'd like to know also, though? You say that, but I'm wondering if the other guy's going, thank you. I mean, 100 G's is a lot of money. I mean, for the horses, you know, I mean, this is pretty good. On to the 4th race, you have New York State breds up. 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 1 other than, scheduled for a mile of 16th on the turf.
4, 8, 9, and 10. The number 4, the lady says yes. Lightly raced 3-year-old, only 6 career starts so far, but all 6 have been in the money. Seems to have a little bit of a bridesmaid complexion, perhaps, but the career fits and starts. I just think you look at this horse's better efforts, and over the last 3 has actually even been on the improve. I think this horse is going to be a competitive force in here today. Number 4 on top. 2nd spot, Image of Noon. This one has fired the lifetime best buyer figure last time out. That was off a late summer layoff, so I think this horse showed some nice fitness on the comeback. Again, off a little bit of a layoff. But the lifetime best buyer figure shows that, again, another fairly lightly raced 3-year-old may have benefited from just a little bit of a break there and gained perhaps a little bit of maturity and fitness. 3rd spot, the number 9 as well. Got some non-winners at 1 experience last time. Sometimes, again, takes them a while to break through. That's the case with this horse. Took 8 starts, broke the maiden, came back and ran a nice 3rd. First time out, non-winners and 1 other than. Sometimes when they move a condition, it just takes 1 or 2 starts for them to figure it out, and this one got some good experience last time. In the 4th, 4, 8, 9, and 10.
On to the 5th race, we have 3-year-olds and up. Claimers in for $35,000. Onwards are 2 races, or 3-year-olds on the dirt racing the 1-turn mile.
Like in the last race, my top pick, the last race may signal a return to top form. 7, 1, 3, and 5 for me. The number 7 is Bimata, and fired a nice buyer figure in a close 2nd place finish last time. And as I say, just may signal that this horse is in some pretty good form right now. 2nd spot, we will go to the number 1 Prudent Investor. It is David Jacobson. It is Drawing Away. It is first off the claim for them. But maybe more notable, it's the reclaim. They have this horse a couple starts back, got claimed away. Ran 1 start for the New Connections, and then Jacobson and Drawing Away jumped in again. You got to like this. They've got some confidence in the horse. Has run well at this level before. Expect Prudent Investor to run well again today. And then in the 3rd spot, the number 3, Petrocelli, 12-1 on the morning line. The question mark, and I think that's why we're seeing the morning line, is the class. I'm not quite sure how this horse translates. Last time was in a 20B on the grass. Before that, state-bred optional claimers, 14 tags, but wasn't in for the tag. 35B level today. As I say, I'm not quite sure, except you go back 4 starts at Monmouth, was in an open 30 claimer and won that race. So that's kind of what I'm basing this on. As I say, I think the 12-1 may be on the last 3 races in the class move. And so we'll hope we get that value, and this horse might get up there in the mix and juice up, who knows, exactas or triples, but I think Petrocelli will fit with this bunch today. In the 5th, 7, 1, 3, and 5.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, 2nd half of today's racing action from the Big A.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right, the 2013 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes and a seat at the 2014 National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month, the Capital Cup on December 7th. So sign up today online at capitalotb.com or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook. And don't forget our Showviver Series, Capital OTB's online handicapping contest.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, up to race number 6 at the Big A this afternoon, New York State Preds. These are 2-year-old fillies, maiden claimers in for 35, racing 6.
1, 4, 9, and 6. I'm going to take a shot with the fresh face factor kind of a situation in here. Just, I don't think it's a particularly strong field. There's a couple of horses who are going to take some money and aren't going to shock me. I've got them right underneath. But I'll take a shot with Henry's Gal, the number 1 horse. You know, the drawback, of course, is the one hole. That's always a little difficult for first-time starters. But you have Disco Rico on top. The trainer with a limited sample does very well with first-time starters, also doing very well with a limited number of starters at the meet. This one had a full sibling called Disco's Son, 3rd in the career debut, then tossed in a clunker and ran 10th and won in the 3rd career start. So I think on the bottom side, there's a little bit of precociousness to maybe hang our hat on. Again, I'm taking a little bit of a shot, a roll of the dice in here, just in a field that looks like it's worth taking a shot. We'll put the first-time starter, Henry's Gal, on top. Second, number 4, No More Sins. A nice near-miss finish against Open Company over at Penn National in the career debut. Bumps up claiming price-wise, but moves in against State Breds. I think this horse could be interesting in the 2nd career start for Jason Service. And then the number 9, Archer Queen, 6-1 on the morning line. I think this horse has to float down a little bit. This is a horse, goes out for Bruce Levine. Now, the question mark is the surface switch, but this is a horse that in the first 3 career starts was in maiden special weight company, state-bred maiden special weight company, but moves in for a tag today. I think the class relief might trump the surface switch. So that 6-1 looks a little generous to me. And I'm just looking down the morning line odds here, and the horse I have in the 4th spot is going to see what the shortest price is, and it's 3-1, which kind of indicates that this is one of those races. It's kind of an open race, but Margaret owns it, is in my 4th spot. And again, I wouldn't have any argument with 2 or 3 of these horses who will take some money and may do very well, but it just seems like the kind of race where it's worth, rolling the dice perhaps and taking a shot. 1, 4, 9, and 6.
On to the 7th race, 3-year-olds and up. Optional claimers in for 25. Non-winners of 1 other than, also going 6.
4, 5, 3, and 2. The number 4 is Mary Meadow. Just seems to be in some pretty good form right now. Won last time, but was disqualified. Won pretty easily. Castellano on that day. Castellano back today. Just adds up. Comes back in, the same condition and everything. I think Mary Meadow is going to be the one to beat. Number 5, My Sparky at 12-1 on the morning line. Might add a little bit of value. Just one of those situations, disregard the latest effort. Had some trouble there. Start before that was a nice win, and the buyers prior to that last start were moving in the right direction. I think My Sparky is better than that last race. And then the number 3, Superior Sarah, Might be primed in the third start back off a long layoff. First couple of starts, the buyer figure moved forward nicely, and again, could be primed for a decent effort today. I'm going to do a 4-horse exacta box in here, just hoping my morning line holds up. I'm not quite sure it will. I think my Sparky, the morning line, I think maybe based on that last start, but I think the betting public might, as I did, look back at the races just prior. That 12-1 might float down. I have 10-1 on my third pick, Superior Sarah. We'll see what happens. If I get the morning line odds to hold up, this exacta could offer a little value, but you may want to check the board. I'll box up my top 4 here: 4, 5, 3, and 2.
On to the 8th race, open company, 3-year-olds and up. Optional claimers in for 62. Non-winners are 2, other than going a mile on the turf.
5, 8, 9, and 2. The number 5 is Cheyenne Nation. Goes out for Rudy Rodriguez, Michael Dubb, horse that's been racing very well. Recently, 3 of the last 5 starts have been wins. One of those a close-up second-place finish. Last time out, won in virtually the same condition. So I think this horse comes back in a very cozy spot today. 5-2 on the morning line. If that holds up, I think that could turn out to be a generous price. Number 9, excuse me, Vinny Goodtimes. Had a win streak snapped last time when trying Stakes Company. Went in a little 100 grander right here at Aqueduct. Showed some speed, but wound up finishing 6th. I think maybe going back into a more proper level today. Again, had a win streak snapped last time, so if this horse rebounds a little bit, moving back out of Stakes Company, should be right up there in the hunt. And actually, that's my 3rd selection. My 2nd selection is number 8, Bo Strikes Back. Was 3rd behind my top pick last time. It just seems to be in some pretty good form. So again, Bo Strikes Back is actually in the 2nd spot. Vinny Goodtimes in the 3rd spot. I was kind of going back and forth with those, so my notes are indicating that. But I wound up going 8 over the 9. So in the 8 today, 5, 8, 9, and 2.
In the finale, we have 3-year-olds and up. Maiden claimers in for 16,000. Racing the dirt, 1-turn mile.
1, 4, 7, and 6. The number 1 is Street Prince. Just some class relief in here. This horse has been racing in Maiden Special Weight Company and doing so with buyer figures that I think, kind of have a significant edge on most in this field. 7 to 5 on the morning line, and I think we'll justify that. Again, I think the class relief puts this one on the top of the heap. We'll go out to the number 4. Saint Sincere goes out for David Jacobson and drawing away. Just has been up there in the hunt with some decent numbers recently. And then in the 3rd spot, the number 7, Bundler. Tossed in a clunker last time over a good seal track. I thought the 3 starts before that were nice and improving. And in fact, the number did improve last time. The finishing position didn't. I think if you look at the complexion of this field, though, Bundler is a very, very good fit. And again, that 8-1 looks a little bit generous in here. So in the finale, race number 9 at Aqueduct this afternoon, I have it 1, 4, 7, and 6.
And that wraps up a look at the Big A, still racing on the main track with a couple of turf races scheduled for today on the television side. For us this afternoon, gets underway. Finger Lakes, as they are in the home stretch, kicks off at 12:15. Followed by the Big A, Tampa Bay Downs, Laurel, Hawthorne joined in progress, as will be Turf Paradise. Dover Downs, Northfield, Saratoga, Pompano, and Balmoral later on this evening for all of our horse racing fans. Also, if you missed any of the selections on the Handicappers Report, we invite you to go to CapitalOTB.com. Click on the Handicappers Report, today version. You'll get all the set selections from the Big A and mine from opening day at Tampa Bay Downs. Also, Capital Off-Track Betting has a brand spanking new, or at least 6 weeks, 5 weeks old now. CapitalOTBBet.com for our state-of-the-art wagering platform. Many bells and whistles if you want to go that direction, and a pared-down version if you like it simpler, cleaner looking. And we invite you, if you have any questions, either call us at 1-800-292-BETS, 1-800-292-2387, or write us viewer mail at capitalotb.com. We've been putting it out there for a little while now to field any questions. We'd be happy to go over the solutions as best that Seth or myself or the powers that be tell us are the solutions to your questions, but they seem to have all figured it out without our help, which might benefit them.
Yeah, we got a minute left. I want to ask you, as you were talking, I was looking at the Wednesday Racing
please.
Forum, and the article was online yesterday. If you read the Dave Grenig article, because I know you're a huge Javier Castellano fan, and the article is Castellano might get eclipsed by Gary Stevens, and the premise of the Grenig article is Castellano having such a great year and having been a runner-up or a finalist in the Eclipse Awards the past couple of years, this could be his year. But does the story of Gary Stevens coming back from the retirement, only 66 wins, 22 of those stakes, though, including some very good ones, the Breeders' Cup Classic and Distaff.
I'm not a big fan of the Eclipse, and I think I've through the years have poked holes because I think I could means test out a lot of the voters. The Eclipse Award for jockeys, though, I think this is a beginning of the dividing line. Remember, there are no rules. My line for the jockey is January through December, Monday through Sunday, races 1 through 9. That's my champion jockey. And, you know, maybe it's because it's what we do on the Handicappers Report. And, you know, I've said this before. I mean, first off, the best jockey in America this year has been Joel Rosario, and it's not very close to me. Now, you could sit out there and say that this is a subjective type of thing. Yes, you can bring my sisters in here, and they could give you an opinion. But I like to think I watch many jurisdictions, and he's the best. Castellano has been the best for 36 months. I mean, he's been impeccable. I mean, the day he had the other day, I just want to bring this up as an example. The day he had on Saturday is he got on a couple of horses because John Velasquez got terribly injured in the Breeders' Cup, and he got to ride the 1-up because he has been, you know, he's worked into the Todd Pletcher barn, which is very advantageous, but obviously Johnny V is number 1, and, you know, but you saw the type of day he had. And as I said, for 36 months, I've seen very little dry spells. Talk about turf sprinting, dirt rooting. He's just so very talented. And to me, and I've known Gary Stevens. We're the same age. And he came down to Southern California when I was there. He's not in my discussion. It's a great story, yes. But the champion jockey in the United States is between two competitors, Joel Rosario or Gary Stevens, based on how I see it. Now, you could say, there's a problem with the way I see it, and my question would be, how can there be a problem with the way I see it if it's January through December, Monday through Sunday, races 1 through 9? That's their job. So
yeah, I'm with you.
That's how I look at it.
It looks like Castellano being on top in the pertinent categories would be the way I go. I will be interested to see how many votes, though, Gary Stevens gets, because I think that story is going to direct a lot of people.
And I think it'd be great from my vantage point if somebody that wins as few races Gary Stevens is going to wins the Eclipse Award. Because I would always be saying in the room, if I'm Javier Castellano, really? I ride, really, that's how it works here. Seth, tell the good people who you have racing across America today.
Jeremy Plonk, horseplayernow.com, a little stakes recap. Always like to get some of his opinions. And Mike Henry from Tampa Bay, we're going to preview their meet, which opens later today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the Handicappers Report. Please stay tuned. Up next, Racing Across America.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.